Grand rising and happy Sunday. I'm not gonna lie, my energy is a little low because I was recently sick and I'm still recovering. And two, I was trying to do something to my hair to make it presentable, but the products that I put in my hair turned my hair white, and now I'm just a little frustrated and a little overwhelmed. But we are not here to talk about hair. We are here to do our scripture Sunday. So I am like so excited about where I'm headed with my readings. So I finished First and Second Samuel's. We are done, and I started First Kings, and y'all, I can't wait to do the scripture Sunday for that because it is getting crazy. Like, I'm on Solomon. I'm starting to read into Solomon's Lives, one of David's son, by him and Bathsheba. And man, boy. I don't know how people find the Bible boring. Like, I just don't see it. So, but let me get into this. So, what we're going to be going over today is going to be Second Samuel's. We're going to start with Second Samuel's 21. So, essentially, the start of this says the Gibeonites avenged. So I'm just going to summarize 2 Samuel's 21 through 2 Samuel's 24. That's what we're talking about and what I took from the messaging there. So essentially, a famine fell on Jerusalem for 3 years. It was a 3-year famine that fell. There was a 3-year successive famine that fell during David's reign. I'm assuming that it was over Jerusalem. And David went to God and he was like, hey, the homie's hungry. Like, what's going on? Why are we experiencing this struggle and this strife? And God was like, when Saul was reigning, he committed some egregious acts against the Gibeonites, against the Gibeonites. The Gibeonites were supposed to be spared. However, in Saul's quest to gain, control over Judah and Israel, Saul essentially tried to commit genocide on the Gibeonites. Why? I don't know. That's what he did. So God told David to go to the Gibeonites and go try to right the wrong, essentially. And then so David went to ask the Gibeonites how he could atone for Saul's actions. The Gibeonites asked for 7 of Saul's male descendants be given to them to be sacrificed and their bodies be exposed before the Lord at Gibeath of Saul, the Lord's chosen one. David agreed. This lifted the famine. So what I found very interesting, or what spoke to me from 2 Saul's 21 through 2 Saul's 22, is the fact that David was seeking atonement for a sin that he did not commit. David was seeking atonement for a sin that he did not commit. Saul has been passed for at least 3 decades now. Like, it's been some time since Saul has passed. And yet still, the sins that he committed and the wrongs that he did to people are still affecting his loved ones. Let's just say it's still affecting his bloodline and those who he was associated with. So not only did David, because of Saul's wrongdoings, not only was David roped into this, because now David have to figure out how to end the famine, all of the people living under his reign were affected by this wrongdoing of Saul. So you have a whole city of people who are being negatively affected by Saul's wrongdoing. And Saul he's passed. He's gone. This is at least 3 decades later. Not only do you have the city, you have Armani, which is the son of one of Saul's wives. Then you have Ayaz, which is one of Saul's daughters. 2 of her sons were sacrificed, and then you have Merab, and 5 of her sons were sacrificed. So you have the 7 descendants who are sons, you have their mothers, all of their siblings, anybody associated or tied to them, are being negatively affected by decisions that Saul made that he's no longer even here to atone for. And so they got me to thinking. The note I left when I read that was sometimes you will pay for and have to rectify the sin of those you've associated yourself with. So David had to atone for the wrongdoings of Saul. Even though it was not David's fault, David had nothing to do with it. David had to atone for that. So one, be careful who you associate yourself with, because whatever they're getting roped up in or whatever they have going on, you could very well succumb to whatever consequences of their actions by association. And then two, I put two, think of, if you won't do it for you, do it for your lineage. So whenever Saul was doing all of the stuff that he was doing, he wasn't thinking about anybody but himself and his own personal goals and ulterior motives. Like, that's all that he was thinking about, right? And so in his quest for, like, to have whatever he wanted, he wasn't thinking about the implications of those actions on his legacy. Like, his great 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 grandson is being, or his great 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 grandsons were unalived because of his actions. And I know that he wasn't thinking about that when he was making those actions. His granddaughter and his daughters were negatively affected by his actions. And I know when he was doing what he was doing, he wasn't thinking about how his bloodline was going to be negatively affected by the actions that he was taking. And so, I think the biggest lesson for me after reading 2 Samuel 21 through 23 is, one, be careful who you associate yourself with, because whether you realize it or not, their sins and wrongdoings can leave a stain on you as well. And it could be something that you have to rectify, even though it's not your fault and you have no association to it and you have nothing to do with it. And then two, if you won't do it for you, do it for your bloodline, because what you do today and the decisions you make today, whether they're right or wrong, they could directly affect, they will, not even they could, they will directly affect your daughter, your daughter's daughters, your daughter's daughters. Like, it has rippling effects on your bloodline. So be cautious of the things you're doing to people, the way you're handling people, the things you're choosing to engage with, the people you're choosing to engage with, because all of that can honestly directly impact so much more than you realize. So that is the scripture for this Sunday. That is the scripture for this Sunday. Biggest two lessons: be careful who you associate with. If you won't do it for you, do it for your bloodline. If you take nothing away from what I said, if you won't do it for you, do it for your bloodline. Be careful who you associate with, because you may end up atoning for things that you have no control over, or anything that you were involved with. And then we are headed into Kings next week, if you guys want to read along with me. So I'm in 1 Kings right now. I've read chapters 1 and 2 so far. I'm pretty sure I'll probably make it pretty far by the end of next week. So if you want to read along with me, that is where I'm reading, and I will see you guys next week for Scripture Sunday. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, an amazing week, and may God continue to cover you, carry you, and keep you along your journey. Yeah.